walking through some steps of installing a CM fender. Kind of the first thing that I would do is you get this end panel here kind of loosely bolted on. Don't tighten everything up yet. Get everything loosely bolted on, and then you move to the front. Get this bracket loosely bolted on. You may have to move this bracket from the back of the row fork to the front of the row fork, or from the front of the row fork to the back of the row fork, depending on your gap, which I'll show you in a second. So loosely bolt this on, and it's nice to have a second set of hands to hold this front up while you have all of these internal brackets loose, the pin bracket and then the receiver bracket. So have all of that stuff loose, have someone holding up that front part of the fender so you can slide it in, and then hand tighten all of these bolts inside here for the pin bracket and the receiver bracket. Once you've got those hand tightened, kind of walk up to the front. You can check and see where your pins are going to mount, how that's going to set down on there, and then really after that, pay attention to this gap in here. This is about where you want to be, this far apart or narrower. We don't want it to be 1 3/4, 2 inches apart. About 1 inch or less is kind of acceptable. So that's where, if you've got too big of a gap, you'd have to move your bracket from the front part of the row fork to the back, or if it's too narrow, you don't have enough room, you move it from the back to the front. Once you kind of have everything set in place, start tightening all of these bolts up. Bolts right here that set down on the pins, the bolts on the row fork here, tighten those up, get them extra tight. And once you've got all of these bolts tight, then come in and start tightening your bolts for your end panels. Once you've got all that tight, should be good to go. There is a little bit of a wiggle, but that's from there being a little bit of a gap on the pins, and that's what we want. We don't want it so rigid that it can't move as you're going through the field. Some of the things that you might run into while doing this is, especially on the John Deere side, these panels might not work with you the best depending on what series you have. So that's why it's just really important, have everything loose as you're putting it in, so you've got a ton of play, and then you can tighten it up once you get it in place. Once you've got it all tightened up, it's really easy to take this off and on. Before then, it's kind of a pain in the butt. But that's just some of the things that you'll encounter when you are working on a CM fender.